Welcome to the Gabe Gallucci Golf Show.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Gabe Gallucci Golf Show. Solo episode for you today. Dave is traveling and thought I'd jump on here and just give you guys an update. As you may have noticed, there was no podcast last week. Hope you guys enjoyed the Masters, by the way. But the reason there was no podcast is that we've gone through pretty significant changes over here, and big changes are coming. And I wanted to kind of bring you guys up to speed on that, give you some context, and kind of give you some behind the scenes of what's going on. I feel like this is the whole purpose of why the podcast exists, is to be able to jump on here quickly and bring you guys into the scenarios of what's going on. So I'm going to lead it off with a quote. I mentioned this in a previous video, but one of my favorite quotes is from a book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. Highly recommend this book, by the way. I read this a couple of years ago. And the quote is, "We do not rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our systems." And essentially what that means is that, you can have lofty goals, you can have high expectations, but you are not going to rise to the level of those goals unless the underlying habits and systems you have in place are putting you in a position to get there. You fall to the level of your systems. It is the underlying systems and habits and the things you are doing that will ultimately determine if you get to that goal. Just saying you want to get a goal doesn't mean anything. It is the underlying things you do that make the difference. After the past little couple weeks leading up to, I guess, the last couple videos you guys saw with Men's Night, I kind of reached a bit of a frustrating point for myself where I just realized that the underlying systems I have put in place were clearly not good enough for my goals. And I needed to make some drastic changes to get myself in alignment to the goal that I have, which is to play in professional golf tournaments. I want to play in local events here. And, if I get good enough at anything beyond that, great. But I want to just be at a professional level, professional player, playing for money, doing that kind of thing. And I noticed that there were just some things I was deficient in, and I didn't know how or why it was happening. And that was also becoming very frustrating because I don't feel like I have an issue of putting in the work. I am very accountable to the goal. I'm very accountable to the effort required. But clearly the way I am putting in the work and the information I'm getting was not what I needed in order to achieve those goals. So we've made some adjustments behind the scenes. We made some personnel adjustments. We are making some adjustments all across the board, and I'll get into those at a later date. I don't want to comment too much on that just yet. But we are doing some overhauls on the swing, and doing some overhauls on the swing is getting overhauled a bit, but we're doing audits on everything I'm doing because I need to see what are the underlying things within my system that are just not allowing me to reach my goals. And clearly there are some things I'm doing that are deficient, and I am now vetting everything I'm doing and the people involved that are helping me to make sure that the systems I have in place and the things that I'm doing are putting me towards those goals. Now, the reason why I went dark with content, the reason why I go kind of dark in these moments is that because ultimately my goal is always to be the best player I can be. And so I didn't love how I was playing, and I didn't love the direction I was going in. And even mentally, I didn't love the direction I was going in towards the end of those videos. I loved making all those videos, but I noticed that as soon as I feel like the game starts to slide, I immediately pull back and go, wait a second, I need to dedicate more time on the game. Like, things are not working. So we made some changes, and we're about a week and a half, just a week right now as I record this. We're a week into the new swing updates. And I can say we are finally starting to see a trajectory towards what I believed and know I can be. A lot of my frustration comes from the fact that I am confident in where I can go, but I am not getting the information or the guidance I need in order to reach that. And so I get frustrated in those moments because I know I can solve problems if I have the right information. What's been cool is I've been able to get some new information specifically pertaining to elements of my swing. And we've been able to clean up a lot. And where we've got our kind of first two signs of reality for that is one on Sunday, just before the Masters, we had the 2-man scramble tournament at Cultus Lake. And me and my buddy Joe, if you follow my Instagram, Joe and I post. Joe always gets the last couple balls I hit at the end of the night because I always have to hit a really good one, and then Joe gets the rest of my earnings, is what I say. So he and I have become really good friends, and we decided to enter this tournament together. And which was great. And it was cool because there was some other competitive teams in there, some guys who play on college golf teams, things like that. So I knew it was a good way to get some reps in, despite the fact that I only had about 4 days on that point of working on the new swing. But we smashed it. We won the event. We shot 7 under through 9 holes. We couldn't do a full 18 because, as you guys have seen in my 12-hole challenge videos, the greens have been a little rough over there, which is unfortunate. That January frost just has killed so many golf courses out here. It's so sad. But what's good is because of doing those 12-hole challenge videos, I felt like I had a bit of a unique advantage of perspective on what, not those 9 holes are, right? Because I basically played that 9-hole loop plus 10, 11, 12. So we just had to focus on 1 through 9. We teed off on hole 9, and we shot 7 under through 9. With 2 lip outs, basically. Like one was a lip out and the other one was like 1 revolution more I needed out of the golf ball, and we would have got it. And it was awesome. It was like the greatest 1-2 punch scramble event I've ever played. Like Joe and I were like, it was just the vibes were great, and we both hit the shots we needed to hit, and we each had our clutch moments, and it was awesome. But one of the big takeaways from that was that it was the first time I have hit wedges in competition that were truly very good. I hit 2 wedge shots within a 1.5 foot of the hole that we basically had kick-in birdies for, and also won the KP hole, which is pretty great. But I think from this new swing guidance I've been getting, I have finally found the underlying cause of why the wedges were so bad, and have now finally actively got a solution to solve that, which was great. And then leading into Tuesday, which was men's night at Shiem, I wanted to see if, to kind of further validate if that was true, and ended up winning low gross that night, as well as picking up, I think I didn't get the KP, unfortunately. Somebody beat me out. It was close, but I did win some cash there for low gross and a birdie on hole 17. And I don't think I got the skin, unfortunately, as well. That was a bummer because I thought I got the skin the week before. But it was the first time I've played around there where, again, you guys have seen on the course log, it's a shorter executive course. It's very demanding of the wedges, and I hit some awesome wedge shots around there. So we are finally at a point where the wedge game is no longer self-destructive line drives. Like we have finally got guidance to solve the wedges, which is great because that has just been so frustrating to deal with. And I know some of you have kind of left comments, and I appreciate those comments. And yeah, it was just very frustrating to constantly feel like the wedge game was inept. And so to be able to pull off some wedge shots, that was great. That led into I did Chilliwack men's night again yesterday, and unfortunately, just had 2 really bad holes that kind of blew up the day. But overall, things are much better and trending in the right direction. I have been doing block practice on the shorter irons and wedges to build up this new swing habit. So I haven't been able to really move into some of the longer irons and longer clubs. And as a result, I kind of had a couple loose swings yesterday that really bit me. But still hit some really good wedges in there, capitalized on some things. The greens, they punched them a couple days earlier, so we didn't get all the putts that we were hoping to make, but the putter has been so good. It was really good at the 2-man scramble on Master Sunday for Joe and I, and then has just kind of carried in. So putting has really turned itself around. I think I've just found a feel and I found some good perspective there. Have also just basically now exclusively been playing the Pro V1X Left Dash. That seems to be the best ball for me putting wise. It's fine for everything else, but specifically for the putter, I feel like I can match up my speed just really well with it. And that seems to translate. So that's been really, really encouraging. Um, but I'm excited because it's finally felt like, when you watch those two men's nights that I posted where I kind of blew up, it was the issue I had was just the fact of not knowing, right? Of kind of constantly having to go to the golf course and not know and feel very deficient. And I used to be a bit of a crammer in high school when it came to tests, and I always hated the feeling of rolling into a test and not knowing and kind of having to bullshit your way through an answer. Uh, I don't like that feeling. And I was kind of, I've always felt like that with golf tournaments. I always felt like I'm rolling in and I don't have a complete set of tools. And I'm okay to accept the outcomes of, both positive and negative, but I don't like the feeling of not having the tools or knowing. I know there's going to be bad days. I'm totally fine with that. But not knowing is a feeling I don't like. And it's nice now to finally have turned a bit of a corner and have gotten some new information that feels like I now know. And I just felt so deficient before. And that has really helped. And that I know moving forward um, is going to be great for me because I thrive off that feeling. I really, really thrive off that feeling. And it's also, a workflow thing. I learned from the best mix engineers in my music career. I've had the luxury of learning from the best mix engineers in the world, guys who mix, all the big hits you've heard, from Coldplay to Kanye to Alicia Keys to Bruno Mars to Imagine Dragons, you name it. Like, I was very lucky to get in rooms with guys who are experts at their craft. And the thing when you learn from people at that high of a level, being an expert at a craft translates to very many disciplines. It's not typically the habits and the things that these guys do are not exclusive to their industry. They're very transferable to other industries and other areas of expertise. And so one of the big things I learned from these mix engineers, and I've taken it into my own work, is the idea of workflow is that, you are a master of your tools, you are a master of your craft. And then for them, and in my world, in the mixing world, as the song comes in, that is your new canvas to solve a problem, right? You are there to solve a problem with those existing tools, but you know what you're doing. The golf course is very similar, right? Like, the golf course is the fresh canvas, right? Every time you rock up to the golf course, it is a fresh canvas. It is a fresh opportunity to paint it many different ways. And I want to have all the colors and options and tools available to me to go about managing myself around the golf course. And I have, up to this point, have felt so inept of trying to put together those tools. I've been trying. That is really when you guys see me grind and work, and that is what I am trying to discover. And ultimately, what I'm trying to put together is a toolbox for me to workflow my way around a golf course. And I needed to make some changes because I just felt like the toolbox I was working with just was missing some very, very key tools that were clearly hurting me. And what's wild is that just in this past week, from implementing some actually very simple adjustments, have yielded some big results and some new learning. So I'm very pumped with that, and I will kind of bring you guys in on that. I've been documenting the swing change, and I will be able to show you guys progress, how I did it, all of these things, and kind of do a bit of an unveiling in a future video of what the new move is and how we've gotten here. So I'm really, really excited for that. But that's the essence of what's going on. We've put tournaments on hold for a little bit as a result, but this season is by no means going to be a write-off. I think the last couple years, I've kind of gotten to this point where, I have this optimism in January and February where I go, oh, things are working. I'm scoring a little bit. And then all of a sudden I get to around this point and I almost get this dose of reality that, like, man, just something is not right. I was just not willing to go through that again. I know I work too hard, and I know I'm way too capable to be in the position that I was in with some of the golf I was playing. And I just know I needed some new and different information to solve these problems. So that's what I've gone and done. We are we're going to be playing tournaments, but I just need a couple weeks to kind of get things under control here. And the good thing is that at least what we're seeing with these men's nights, and we're going to be playing the men's nights every week, and I'll have updates and hopefully kind of get back to filming those for you guys as well. What I like about the men's nights is that they provide a competitive space for me to play, and they're just much cheaper, right? I can play 4 or 5, 6 men's nights for the price of one tournament. And I also have the opportunity to make money back and fund more men's nights, which has also been interesting learning about myself. I wonder if playing strictly at an amateur level with no possibility of making money, um, kind of mentally, like, doesn't get the competitive juices flowing. I do notice a big difference in myself when I know there's some cash available to be won in different ways. And obviously in tournaments, you're not going to have KPs and skins and those kind of things. Fine. But even just knowing you can battle out for some cash does, I think, play a factor for me, and something I definitely need to consider moving forward. But I've really enjoyed these men's nights. I don't really go to men's night to, like, drink beer and hang out and fuck around. That's just not my vibe. I like the fact that there is a competition element to it, and you can put up a score, and you can win low gross, and there's opportunities to kind of have to put up a good score, play by the rules, and play good golf. And I find that the issues I have in tournaments would be the same issues that crop up on those men's nights. So my theory thinking is that if I can shoot, if I'm not shooting well at those men's nights, well, then why am I playing tournaments yet? It's like it's like a good logical step up. And I don't feel very different in a tournament than I do in those men's nights. So my immediate steps are to really kind of hunker down. Let's start shooting some good under par scores at these men's nights. We're getting close. We missed winning the pro division by 3 shots at the Sham Mountain this week. So I got low amateur gross, but there's like they call it world beater, where it's like where the pros can play. So I missed that by 3. And I can definitely point to about 5 instances during that round that I could have made up those shots. So I want to clean that up. I want to start seeing results in those categories. And then from there, we will get into events. And the new team I'm working with, we are working to be on track to play events hopefully by middle of May. And I definitely want to be playing in June, July. My goal when I made that video a year ago, it was saying it was going to take about a year to get my body in the right place for my swing. And that's, I truly believe I can be on track for that. So that's my hope. That's what we're working on. Just wanted to kind of give you guys some insights and bring you up to speed on what's going on. There is a lot of positivity, but just keep my head down, making these new changes, implementing these new things. And I'm going to be a better golfer as a result, because we do not rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our systems, and we need to be accountable to the systems we put in place. We need to be accountable to our habits. And if you are not auditing the habits and systems you have in place, you can potentially kind of run into situations where I've run into, where you're not getting to the end result you want. And the only person to blame in that is me. I take full accountability for that, and I am the one making the changes, and I am the one that is going to be working as hard as I can to course correct and put myself back on the right track. So with that, hope you guys enjoyed this update. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate it. Hope you guys enjoyed watching the Masters this past weekend. It was probably the most Masters I've ever watched. I truly loved that tournament. Just the conditions and everything. I felt like it really exposed who can hit the right shot. And I found that very inspiring. And I'm actually taking a lot of that into my practice. Watching the really good guys be able to manage shots that some guys just don't have in the bag was very eye-opening. And I think that's where Augusta provides an incredible test, is it really just weeds out the people that can control the golf ball and those that can't. And Scotty Scheffler is an absolute master of that. So yeah, just incredible learning. And I'm excited to watch him continue his dominance, because we are watching just an incredible display of golf. So anyway, with that, hope you guys have a great week. Thank you so much for listening, and I will catch you on the next one.